Am I the asshole for not helping my wife with dinner? So me and my wife attempt to do a 50-50 split in the household. In our case, I do the laundry, trash bags, most of the cat-related tasks, litter box, food, drinking water mostly fall onto me like 80-20s. I vacuum daily during the week because the cleaner only comes on Friday and we have long-haired cats. My wife does the smaller food groceries for stuff like dinner, the cooking most of the week, grooming of the cats once or twice a week, and does yard work twice a year. Now this 50-50 split is important to me, because I don't want either of us to feel used by the other, or make either feel like we're lazy. So last Saturday we've been lazing about playing the new Legend of Zelda. We have an appointment in the evening at 6:30. I did the laundry in the meantime while my wife continued playing Zelda. I took a shower, went down and asked how late we're going to eat because we're supposed to be somewhere in 1.5 hours. I said, probably best to eat at 5:30 since we're supposed to be there and they're an hour later. Mind you, this was an appointment at an event organized by one of her friends. She said she wanted to grab a shower as well and that we weren't going to make 5:30, and told me, there's instructions on the packaging so you can do it as well, otherwise we're not going to make it. That didn't sit right with me because she wasn't doing anything today except playing a game, and due to her own poor planning I was supposed to fix dinner as well. So I told her no. She told me, the instructions are clear, I'm sure you can do it. I told her, it's not that I can't do it, but I don't want to do it. I did the laundry today, no problem, so the cooking is up to you as we agreed on. She told me she felt blackmailed into not showering and I told her, no, we'll just be late. We both have full-time jobs from mow to fry, both office jobs. Am I the asshole? Edit. Somebody advised me to add the following context in. The workload is already in her favor, which I'm fine with. I stated we attempt to do a 50-50, but I do a lot more around the house. We used to alternate cleaning the house every week, but she only did it when she felt like it, so that meant not doing it for 3 weeks at times. I expressed my grievances and we ended up getting some help to clean the house once a week. Also, when she's ill or has an emergency I pick up the slack, no problem. That's outside of her control. She has to go to the office and wants me to cook while I WFH? No problem. On your period? I'll take care of the household and her, no problem. But in this instance it ticked me off because there was absolutely no other reason for her not to do it outside of laziness. And I am already doing a lot more altogether. Edit 2. Hello everybody, I appreciate the comments. I made my wife aware of the thread and we both discussed it. A lot of toxic comments have been filtered out, as they were straight up, man bad, woman right, or, woman bad, man right, comments. The takeaway is that I will need to stop tallying a chore score. People here are absolutely right on that. I started doing it when I had the feeling I was overburdened, and when I started tracking what we did and the time it cost, it got confirmed. By never stopping this tally after first addressing it, things got unhealthy fast. We both liked the suggestion where we trade off chores if one can't do theirs. But only if one is already feels overburdened from other chores. Despite that, we both agreed that talking to a marriage counselor on how to handle this is the best way forward, which some of you had also suggested. We have discussed our issues with household tasks with each other many times before me making this post. The final thing I'll answer is the time the household tasks take, for those that believe me, including tasks I didn't include, which lead to big discussions, so here goes. Cooking takes about 45 minutes to an hour. She cooks 5 times a week on average. Doing daily groceries is a 20-minute activity tops. It's also not always daily, but for the sake of time spent, let's say it is. If I go out I do ask if I should bring something, but generally she gets it herself. The weekly groceries, or heavy groceries we do together as heavy lifting is for me. I also make suggestions for dinners, and every day I get asked the question, so what's for dinner? So I do give input, but giving an idea on food is marginal input. The grooming of the cats means combing their hair. They don't have an undercoat, so the hair gets crazy fast. It takes around half an hour per week. The yard work is done so little per year because it's 90% stone with roughly 3 plants and 2 trees in the backyard, and a small front yard patch. I'd say altogether it costs roughly 4 hours a year. So the daily vacuuming takes about 2030 minutes depending on how rigorous it is. All our carpets and couches hold hair like it's magnetic, so it's a chore. The litter box means scooping out the litter boxes 5 times a day at least for 2 cats. Takes a few minutes per clean-up, as I also need to vacuum around the litter box, although my wife vacuums the litter when she sees it. Let's say altogether around 20 minutes per day for the litter box. Both of our cats are each on a special diet with different dry and wet food, with a special feeder, which takes time to clean. It's a 5-minute chore daily, so not a lot altogether. In terms of laundry, I do 4 batches which I sort, wash, hang up, and fold. Altogether it takes about 2 hours weekly. Now for the honorable mentions I forgot. After cooking I do the cleanup, although my wife sometimes helps. I always do the pots and pans by hand, and the rest I rinse and put in the dishwasher. I am also the one who changes linen 80% of the time, although my wife sometimes does. Also, some people seemed confused, but I actually do take care of my own breakfast and lunch. Dinner pertains to the evening meal, as per definition of the word. Our finances are divided and both manage certain bills, for which we have a joint bank account. Hard to explain, but some stuff is on my name, while other stuff is on hers. She does track the stock of stuff like toilet paper and the likes for when it should be bought, but some stuff is on me for obvious reasons, like fabric softener. We don't have kids, and we're also not extremely young. We're both in our mid-30s. We're also European, not American or US-based. The reason my wife cooks is because when the laundry wasn't being done, I made the suggestion that I would do the laundry if she cooks. She agreed to this as she enjoyed cooking more. Wow. When you say 50-50, you really mean it number 51-49 for you, not even on some particular day. I think this is overly strict and inflexible, and likely to lead to problems when you want some flex. But it's a valid way to be, and if you and your wife want to be that way, it's okay. But you've got to be aligned, and it doesn't sound like you are. This is a communication failure, so everyone sucks here, nah. Not the asshole. At first I was like, come on seriously, just cook the shit. But glad you added the edit. My wife and I share stuff around the house as well, but nothing is really assigned, and believe me, you don't want me cooking. You are well within your area to raise a grievance on this issue. By what you wrote, she is more and more taking advantage of whatever arises to bail on her responsibilities. 50-50 doesn't exist. Marriage and relationships are never 50-50. You are supposed to be a team. Sometimes one person in team does more and sometimes less. You communicate with each other if you feel one person is slacking off. This bullshit of equality is fucking people up. If you get your wife pregnant, are you planning to carry the baby for 4.5 months face with rolling eyes? Not the asshole. Why should you have to take care of dinner, when she was perfectly capable of doing so but made the decision not to in time? If she were tired, or sick, or unexpectedly busy, this would be different. But there's no reason why she couldn't have had dinner ready on time. She just made the decision to prioritize Zelda over food. That's on her, not op. Not the asshole. Would I be the asshole for telling my mom about what I found in my sister's room? I, 18, was in my sister's room looking for some art supplies I needed for a project. I really shouldn't have been in there looking in the first place because she, 21, is away right now at school. But my mom said it was fine for me to look because she knew that I would respect her belongings and not snoop around. I went into her room and saw a spool of string that was hanging out of one of her dresser drawers, and I vaguely remembered that she used to keep some craft supplies in one of her dresser drawers. Thinking that the supplies would be in whichever drawer this escaped spool of string was leading to, I followed the string and opened the drawer. But instead of finding craft supplies, I found wrappers and packages of snacks, candies, and other foods packed into the drawer so tight it was like a brick. Over the past year, my family noticed that my sister had gained some weight. But we never brought it up since we all know she is on medication that is associated with weight gain. We also noticed food going missing, often, too, which we did bring up since entire packages and bags of food would disappear right after we bought it. She would always vehemently deny that she had eaten or taken any of the food, and this would often lead to her fighting with me or my parents because even though we didn't have proof, we knew that she had to be the one taking the food. I'm not sure why. But for some reason, finding the packed drawer of wrappers is really bothering me, and I want to tell someone. My goal is not at all to get my sister in trouble or to start a fight, but I know that will inevitably happen if I bring this up. If I do tell someone, I want to tell only my mom since she is a lot more level-headed than my father, and I also think she will be more understanding that although what is going on isn't good, my sister obviously is losing some self-control. However, my mom has been getting very angry about this food situation since she knows that my sister has been lying to her face for months on end. I want to do my best to not get my dad involved since I'm sure that he will be super angry. He and my sister already don't get along and I don't want this to be a breaking point. I also understand, though, that I shouldn't have been in her room in the first place, and that me being there looking through her drawers in the first place is an invasion of privacy. As I said before, she is also 21, meaning that she is old enough to be responsible for her own actions and should deal with situations like this herself. But this is also a very unhealthy habit and is also very unclean since I'm sure there must be crumbs or residue in that drawer. Would I be the asshole for bringing up my findings with my mom? Edit. Now that I have read some replies, I've realized that it was immature of me to think I should bring my parents into this, since I am old enough to talk with her and because they haven't been supportive in the past. I'm planning on messaging her. This is what I plan on sending her, something like this. Do you think this is too aggressive? I want to be 100% supportive, honest, and open. Message. I'm telling you this because I think I owe it to you to be honest and truthful. I went in your room because I was looking for string for a painting I was doing. I stood in the doorway and looked around to see if there was any on your desk, and then I saw a spool that had rolled out on the floor from one of your dresser drawers. I thought that there would be more string in the drawer, so I opened it. I know that I shouldn't have because I didn't ask you, but I did, because I told myself I wasn't going to snoop around. When I opened the drawer though there was a lot of old food wrappers. I didn't touch anything and I didn't tell anyone and I'm not planning on telling anyone. I don't want to overstep but I think if you feel like you constantly need to snack that much that it might be a problem. I don't want to make you feel ashamed because I know that mom and dad are usually on you for eating, or you taking food, and that I have said things like that too in the past. I don't want to make you feel ashamed and I don't think mom or dad wants you to either. I think they are just concerned and I am too. Whether it's medication, coping over something, or not overeating and just not being comfortable eating in front of people, I think you should maybe talk to someone about it. Even if it's not mom or dad. I'm not implying that something is wrong. I'm just concerned that maybe something is based on the limited information I have. I won't bring anything up to anyone either way. I do think that you should work to clean out the drawer though for cleanliness reasons since it's getting warm, and so that it's not constantly there and maybe reminding you of something. I don't want to overstep my boundaries even though I know I already did by going into your room without your permission. I'm sorry I did that. I haven't done it ever before and I won't do it again. I'm only bringing this up because I want to help and not to make you ashamed. You are the asshole if you say anything. 1. You were snooping and had no permission to be there. 2. You have no idea when those wrappers date to. 3. Your sister isn't stealing, she's taking food to eat that was already meant for the family. And your family is being weird and controlling by acting like this as something to monitor. If you talk to anyone about this, it should be your sister. And it should not be an accusation. If you talk with her it should be to ask if she's doing okay or struggling with some form of disordered eating. You are the asshole. If you have to talk to anyone, talk to your sister. Your mom seems to already know who it is and if you bring the evidence and tell your mother you will definitely damage your relationship with your sister. WIBTA if you snitch to your mom. It's really none of your business, and the only reason you know is because you violated your sister's privacy. Ultimately, this is kinda none of your business. If you're legitimately concerned about your sister, though, talk to her about it, not your mom. WIBTA. It seems that your mom already knows who is taking the food. If she needs proof, she can enter your sister room herself, or maybe she has already done so. Here the main point is that your sister is behaving in a weird way for a 21-year-old. Besides the mystery of the missing snacks, have your parents realized that she might need help? Am I the asshole for not sharing my inheritance and belongings with my family? Throwaway. Background. My parents met when they were in high school. Due to race and religious differences most of their families did not approve, except for dad's paternal grandparents since they weren't particularly religious. The rest basically made their life hell until they turned 18 and kicked them both out. They stayed together, they supported each other. My dad went to uni while my mom worked. After he graduated my mom went to uni while dad worked. They built a life for themselves, they got married. Then they had my brother, and then me, F19. We would see some of their family members in their respective congregation events every once in a while. They were still mildly religious and the congregations never had problems with their relationship, just their families. In these events hellos were said just out of politeness so nobody knew if my parents were doing well. My parents and brother died about 7 years ago. I was 13. The equivalent of CPS contacted family members to take care of me, but everyone refused, they wanted nothing to do with me. I was going to end up in the foster care system when a classmate, I had not friends back then, told her mom the basics of my situation. Some people in school gossiped about it. Her mom and stepdad were foster parents for little kids. They took me in. A year later they became my legal guardians. My former classmate is now one of my BFs. They aren't my parents, but they're a close second. I inherited everything that belonged to my parents and brother: house, cars, money, etc. I'm in uni now. Months ago I had a group project. I have a rare last name and so did one of the group mates. At first we thought it was a huge coincidence. One day she asked me if I was related to Dad. I said yes. She tells me she's the daughter of Dad's brother. We were cousins. We started talking, getting to know each other. She knows what the family did to my parents and apologized for them. A few weeks ago she was talking about her scholarship renewal process and asks how am I paying for uni. I told her my parents had really good jobs that paid very well and joked they had a big savings account plus life insurance when they passed. A week later I received a text from cousin apologizing in advance, then calls, messages, emails, from family members asking where is their share of the inheritance, that in the family all inheritances share with everyone. On my dad's side I also have people demanding I return my dad's watch that has been passing down to the first son when they turn 15 because it should be a male cousin's now since the line has been broken. It needs a new one. I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to give them anything, but IDK. Some also want a recipe book from my great-great-grandmother, and other heirlooms that my parents had. Am I the asshole? Edit. Cousin says it wasn't intentional and apologized profusely. She was having a fight with her dad over uni. He's not happy with her life choices. And he brought up his loser brother, to which she said he wasn't actually a loser and told him what I told her about my dad's life. But she says she didn't mention I inherited anything, that was his conclusion. Edit 2. When my cousin's dad found out we met, he took her phone, where she had my number and email address. She was able to retrieve it to send me the apology message, but then her dad saw her and took it again and throw it in the toilet. She had to get a new one. Edit 3. It's my understanding now that here CPS don't disclose the existence of inheritance when they call relatives. They're just like, would you take them in? And they said no, so they weren't informed about the money since they were not in the will. It's also part of the law that I couldn't legally give anything, neither money nor items, to anyone until I was 18. Not the asshole. I would advise not giving smaller items like the recipe book to them, because that will just give them a wedge to ask for more. I would speak with a lawyer to confirm your rights to your inheritance. Then if any relative contacts you re the inheritance, you refer them to your lawyer. I know someone who did this and approaches from relatives stopped pretty quickly. Not the asshole. Don't return even a single thing. It's all yours, op. They wanted nothing to do with your parents and that includes the money. What a bunch of terrible humans. Not the asshole. You can pass the watch on to your son when you have one. Thank the good Lord they didn't take you in. Everything would be gone. Cut contact with your cousin unless you don't care if she spreads your personal information. Not PPPPPEEEEEEEE. Those people abandoned your parents over petty shit, they deserve nothing. These assholes didn't want anything to do with you until they found out you had money and stuff from your parents. They couldn't even be bothered to help raise you after your parents' deaths. These are some really shitty people who deserve nothing from you. This statement, in the family all inheritances share with everyone, is laughable. They made sure you had no family. Your only response should be, I'll share the inheritance with all the family members who stepped up to take care of me after the tragedy. Anything you give them will only serve as a wedge to make them think they can get more from you. Don't open that door unless you want them hounding you forever. You are very much not the asshole. Would I be the asshole for making a crochet blanket as a wedding present for my brother and his fiance? I, F18, was invited to go to my brother's, M24, wedding that is next year. I've known my brother's fiance for about 5 years and she has always been very sweet and I really like her and can't wait for them to get married as they make each other happy. The problem comes in regards to the gift. When I was told they were going to get married a couple months ago, I decided a good present would be a crochet blanket for them. This blanket would be pretty big because my brother is tall, but I wanted it to kinda be like a throw that can go over the couch. I went out and got really good and soft quality yarn as well as swatched different stitches to see how they would look together in a blanket. I even took into account that they might appreciate an acrylic yarn so they can throw it in the washer and dryer without worrying about ruining it or needing to hand wash the blanket. I started it not long ago and it is coming out really great, but I recently went out to eat with my group of friends and they all said that it was a terrible wedding present. Most of the comments I got is that it would be seen as cheap and a waste of space in their home. My best friend even said that it would be best to get something off the gift registry and that giving a blanket is kind of a plain gift to give to someone at their wedding. However, they don't have a gift registry and I don't think they will make one because they just aren't those kinds of people who focus on stuff like that. The thing is that the yarn is not cheap and I tried telling them that, but none of them crochet, so I don't think they fully understood what I was saying. I've already spent about $80 on yarn and that doesn't take into account the price of the fabric backing I need to get and the problem that the yarn I have right now might not be enough, resulting in me needing to buy more in the future. This is my first time crocheting a blanket, but I have made smaller projects for my brother in the past, mainly hats because he loves them. I'm just worried that I chose the wrong thing and already invested a good amount of money and time in a gift that would be seen as useless. My mom says it would make a great gift, but so many of my friends are telling me that it is a bad idea and to get them something else. I am very conflicted and don't want to give my brother something that he wouldn't like or need. Luckily, if I am the one in the wrong, then I can probably save up money from my job and get something else, but it would be a shame to waste the time and effort I already put into starting this project. I guess I never took into account that a blanket might not be a good present, but I guess it isn't a very extravagant gift for a wedding. This would be my first time attending a wedding and I don't want to ruin it somehow by not understanding the unwritten rules of gift giving. And #X200B. Edit. Since I have seen this brought up often, I thought it would be good to give a bit more info. My brother and FSIL like neutral colors when decorating their house. My brother loves the monochrome scale, so anything black, gray, and white. My FSIL also likes it, although she gravitates more towards the lighter side such as light gray or white. The couch they have is a dark gray and the blanket I am making is on the lighter side of gray, so they will go well together, and I took into account that it would look good with most colors they decorate with in the future. I originally wanted to use their favorite colors, but my brother likes red and my FSIL likes blue and I couldn't make them both work in a blanket. Maybe I can use those colors to embroider something on the fabric backing. Not the asshole. Listen to your mother on this. It's such a great idea for a thoughtful and unique gift. Your friend's response is immature and tactless. Not the asshole. It's months of work and yarn is expensive. Sure, you could buy some factory-made thing, but this is personal. You are 18. No one should expect a more expensive gift from you. Not the asshole. Your friends are being very immature. But I'd check about the acrylic yarn, if I were you, as it's possible to be allergic to it. I know this firsthand, sadly. I can't be around it without my eyes swell shut and I start to sneeze. Not the asshole. If my sister made me a blanket for a wedding present, I'd be thrilled. I love blankets personally, and also knowing that you put all that time and effort and love into it will make your brother and his fiance love it more. Please don't listen to your friends. This is a great gift. Less than 3. Not the asshole, and your friends really don't realize how totally wrong they are. Do your thing. It'll be amazing, special and really appreciated.